So, hello everyone, good evening, and welcome back to Career Guidance, Career Talks from Lila Gurukulam. This is the 11th day that we are going on with a lot of discoveries that's happened so far. And today, with us on a Sunday evening, we have Divya Kanerji, who is a doula, a hypnobirthing, and a childbirth educator. She's also a golden period educator, an amazing human being, a mother, a homeschooler. She's a lot than what we can describe today. So thanks a lot for taking your time, Divyaji, and thanks for being here. So it's it's so nice to talk to you because we started off a long time back when our journey started as homeschooling parents, and we met at that time, and you guided us beautifully, and we are all in different places doing different things, working together in a lot of different areas. It's really nice and beautiful to know be connected with you, and thanks for taking the time today and being on the session. Really looking forward to discovering a lot about this beautiful profession, a beautiful career that you do. Welcome.
Thank
So,
you.
so I just did a quick intro of you. I quoted a few words there: hypnobirthing, childbirth educator, golden period educator, and a doula. All of these things, which seemed to me alien before I discovered this space. I know a lot about what happens there, but this was something really alien for me. And it was not like I did not know about it because it was not relevant, though uh, I was in a situation where I was uh, a parent to be. We were looking at places. We knew about healthcare. We knew about hospitals. We knew about different things that's happening there. But this fascinating world of what happens in the birthing space is something that we had no clue of. And that was an amazing thing that when we discovered these are the kind of things that people are doing and how it is touching each and every single human being at a personal level at a very crucial time of their life. It's an amazing profession. So I will let you do a quick introduction about yourself, and then we can now start going deeper into discovering this beautiful journey.
Thank you so much for that generous introduction, Bharaji. It's always a pleasure connecting with Leela, and everything that I've learned from here. It's like so grateful to everybody here for that. So thank you. To begin with, actually, when I finished my education as a MBA graduate and starting off with my career, I was very keen to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
The teaching profession was something that really called out to me at that time. And I started as um, teaching in schools in my just after I finished my graduation. Somehow, I felt that as a young new graduate coming into the space, a lot of older people were there, and I felt that the drive I had was a lot more than the opportunity available in that space.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to finance and I moved to banking. So
Okay.
working with multinational corporations, I saw many different areas of service.
Mm-hmm.
When I left my corporate job after almost a decade there, I was in taking care of premier clients in HSBC in one of the multinational banks. So my core strength I realized was service. So
Mm-hmm.
I facilitating, teaching, and service.
Okay.
Then through my journey, I volunteered with an NGO. I did Seva there. And I realized that going back to teaching, I worked with another social enterprise teaching
Mm-hmm.
and saw the situation of children in schools all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally sat in classrooms with teachers,
Wow.
mentored teachers, trained principals across all different boards, and saw that the children in the classrooms
Mm-hmm.
very different from when I was a child in the classroom. They
Yes.
were same yet very different.
Mm-hmm.
Needs of today's children and being labeled as different things was quite a revelation for me. At the
Mm-hmm.
time, I was in Calcutta, and Calcutta also happens to have a very bad reputation for being one of the leading places for teenage suicides in the
Okay.
country.
Oh.
That led me to, go back to the beginning. So, what's really going on?
Mm-hmm.
The children in schools, and where is it coming from?
Okay.
So layer by layer, as I went, okay, where is it? Is it in kindergarten? Is it in,
Mm-hmm.
before that? I realized the impact that prenatal education has on the lifelong capacity of a human being.
Yes. Yeah.
And, I'm like a compulsive learner.
Uh-huh.
Constant, even when I was in collections and banking, I was learning about mutual funds and totally unrelated topics.
Yeah.
Just it's a fascination. I have to keep on picking up new things. So at this point, I just kept on learning different things.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I came to know about prenatal psychology and different, areas of work like hypnobirthing and doula. In one of the Rotary meetings, I actually came
Yeah.
across hypnobirthing.
Uh-huh.
So it was like a very serendipitous meeting there, which I never thought I would be doing many years later.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I began in this space.
Okay. That's a beautiful story, beautiful journey that's led to you here. Being an MBA grad, working in multinational corporations, which are financial corporations, which got nothing to do with anything that you're doing today. And then discovering what's happening in the education space and trying to go to the root of figuring out what is leading to these problems and then getting into this beautiful area. It's a fascinating journey of discovery because, as you mentioned, the curiosity of learning new things, I think, is what also got you here. Uh, so very nice story to begin with. And what a coincidence. Today is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody listening and everybody who's there online. And you're working with mothers and mothers to be changing their lives. So help us understand more about what a doula is.
Okay. So what I shared was the outside part. Now the inside story I'll tell you.
Okay.
So through this time, I also had my first child.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it was like, okay, I can do it all and it's not such a big deal. What is it going to, why would I hire somebody for different things and all of that? So it
Uh,
was me and my husband by ourselves. And that birth experience is very different from my second. So
mm-hmm.
in the second, I had a doula because I was like, okay, it takes a village to raise a child. And now I'm open to receiving help, to
Mm-hmm.
asking for support. In that's also as you grow older, transition happens. So in this time I came to know about all these things, and it really helped both of us to do these courses,
Mm-hmm.
hypnobirthing, to have a doula with us.
Okay.
So in that, when I had this support,
Mm-hmm.
the impact that it made on me was what helped me to become one later. So what
Okay.
a doula does is during labor and
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy, even postpartum, she is one person who is there as a continuous support.
Mm-hmm.
So, physical support, mental support, emotional support in navigating these changes
Mm-hmm.
in a way that is evidence based. So,
Okay.
not at a judgmental level, not with
Mm-hmm.
any conditions attached, but giving you, if you have any questions, or giving you the information and helping you navigate what is going on,
Mm-hmm.
both physiologically as well as at a deeper level.
Okay. So it's like a friend who is there with you from the time you are ready for your pregnancy and throughout the pregnancy journey, and after the baby is born, to handhold you towards the first few days, months, or whatever it takes to get there.
Yes. Primarily, most people find the doula during their labor and birth.
Uh-huh.
That's when they feel the. So I've been there from preconception as well.
Okay.
But most people, it's usually during birth. So during
Mm-hmm.
birth, the doctor will come usually in the last 5 minutes or so.
Right.
You don't have the patience to answer all your questions, to give
Absolutely.
pros and cons of each option available, or even tell you that there are options.
Right.
Usually, they say this is one thing, and it's either my way or the highway most
Yes.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Also nature of their work, the number of people they are taking care of, it's a limitation that comes with the ground. But a
Mm-hmm.
doula gives you one-on-one support, because the doula is responsible only to the parents, not to any organization or to anyone else. The um, she works for you,
Uh-huh.
therefore is available to you, not at any shift. So a midwife or a nurse or a doctor will
Mm-hmm.
come at the end, or they available during their working hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? But a doula is available for you 24/7 when you need her. You don't know when labor starts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
From the beginning of the labor, there is continuous support till the birth and a couple of hours after, and
Yes.
even later. So it helps in integrating the whole process.
Yeah. That continuity helps a lot because both the pregnancies, both are children, right? I was there with my wife, but the thing that happens is when the medical staff is there, when you go there, there are a couple of people who are seeing you and you have told them your entire story and where you are. And then they hand over to somebody else because the shift changes. And for them, it's a blank slate. For them, it's just a medical procedure, but they don't understand what's going on, the emotions that are running behind, the story of how you got there when it happened. It's a switch. And there at that point of time, pregnant ladies or the mothers who are there in that stage, all that they need is somebody to just talk to them and listen to them, though you don't do anything. And that is, I think, what you guys do beautifully. Uh, with that, I had a question, right? So when we speak to doctors, they speak about all of these things from a medical background, from the understanding of medicine, the physiology, as you mentioned. And there are terms that they use which we common people don't understand, right? And they say this is what it is, which feels very scary, but at the end of the day, say, no, 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 I don't have to worry about it. It's not really complicated. But the term kind of creates that alarms in you, like, whoa, what did she say? Because you don't understand it. Do you, as a doula, have to learn all of those medical terms, understand what the doctors are saying? Do you need to also have a medical background to do this profession? Or is it something that you pick up as an add-on to whatever your other qualifications are? Because you are an MBA grad, nothing to do with medicine. At this
So,
point of time, it's got a lot of things to happen with, I mean, the human body and everything that goes on, right? Do you need to have a medical background for this?
see, a doula is in a sense a person who is with the woman. So you're serving the woman,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you don't need a medical background.
Okay.
But since I am also a childbirth educator,
Mm-hmm.
in that space, I have picked up the nuances of, what does each term mean? What are the
Okay.
pros and cons of each? And for me, it's usually a continuity. So people take
Okay.
classes with me and then they come as doula support most
Mm-hmm.
of the times. But there are
Mm-hmm.
also people who only come for doula support.
Okay.
So then it becomes like a relationship where we first learn about what are your preferences, what do you want for your birth,
Mm-hmm.
right? For example, in a medical parlance, okay, for pain relief, do you many natural ways for pain relief are available. For example, simple thing like water.
Right.
You don't need an epidural. There are many births which can happen on their own. But at the
Okay.
same time, if for some reason the mother needs surgical support,
Mm-hmm.
a doula plays a very critical role there as well
Okay. How?
to help them navigate the uncertainty which comes
Huh?
with it. And after a very, like, for example, let's say a cesarean operation, it's a
Mm-hmm.
major abdominal surgery.
Right.
The child who is born will need additional support in
Right.
latching, and the mother needs additional support in recovering.
Mm-hmm.
So, preparing for something which you're not prepared for
Right.
and navigating that. Also, you have someone you can count on, you can lean on,
Yes.
who's supporting you through whatever turn your birthing takes without any judgments and without conditions.
Nice.
Very easy to feel guilty, something I didn't do, all of
Yeah.
that. So
Right.
those judgments are aside when there's a person who's supporting you through what is needed.
Yes. Absolutely. At that point of time, it's like you cannot go for second opinion, right? You're there. You're on the uh, place, and that helps a lot because you have somebody to talk to and figure out what's going on. So beautiful. And you spoke about hypnobirthing as well. If you can elaborate a little on that, what does hypnobirthing do? And that is where you also mentioned you are a childbirth educator and you had to pick up certain skills for that. If you can just touch upon those two things.
Okay. So all of us are constantly in different states. Like we are awake now, then
Mm-hmm.
we're falling asleep, then we're dreaming, and then we wake up. So this is a normal state of life,
Correct.
right? Most of the time at this stage, what we are picking up information is very different from when we are in a state like, let's say, in meditation
Mm-hmm.
or just before we fall asleep. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, that is called the hypnagogic state, where
Yeah.
you can pick up more, receive more
Mm-hmm.
information. You're in the alpha state or whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
So in hypnobirthing, we use that power which is intrinsically in us to
Mm-hmm.
connect with our own self intuitively, as well as the instinctive way in which our grandparents probably birthed, because the
Mm-hmm.
OB/GYN field is probably only 100 years old.
Right.
As humans have been birthing for eons before that. It's physiological, right?
Yeah.
So how do you connect with that when the whole narrative around in society and through our upbringing has been mostly fear based?
Right. Yeah.
Everyone talks about negative outcomes, but there's
Correct.
very less positivity spread
Yes.
on this.
So okay. That's nice to know, and because that is exactly what you mentioned. It's become it was a common sense and a general knowledge and a way of life which became something which was prescribed as a medicine or a guidance that was given, which was not easily understood by everybody. So you are bridging those gaps. So does that profession require some medical knowledge and understanding what it is? The childbirthing educator, as you meant, right? And the hypnobirthing. Do you work with the doctors in that area to help them to do this, or do you work still with the mothers?
I
So
work only with mothers.
only with the mothers. Okay.
Yes.
So
Families, in fact, the father is a
okay.
very integral part as well. And I've
Okay.
had many grandparents participate in the process too.
Nice. Okay. So it's not just about medicine. It is about the bonding and the whole
Yes,
family and the thing that happens there.
very
Very
much.
nice. And you mentioned about at the point when you were doing your introduction of how you got into this, right? You did mention that there was a lot of suicide cases. It was surprising for me to know that Calcutta was a suicide capital. Heard of other places in the West, but didn't know something like that happened in our own backyard. But then you did mention that all of these things stems from what happens in the prenatal stage. How how does that affect? I mean, what exactly does this mean? What how do you correlate what happens in the prenatal stage when child is not even there, like in the physical form, to what happens to them while they're in the school and they have to go to a certain extent to you know, take their own lives? How are these two connected?
Okay. So there are a lot of studies and research to corroborate what I am sharing here today. When the going gets tough, the tough get going is
Mm-hmm.
something many people hear of. What's happening during the whole process of pregnancy and especially in labor and childbirth?
Mm-hmm.
One, most people don't even go into spontaneous labor, it's inductions happening. So the first will of a human being
Mm-hmm.
is the will of starting the process of labor.
Right.
It's a child who starts the labor process for
Mm-hmm.
the mother. And that's when, contractions begin or the process starts. And the
Mm-hmm.
child's lungs are ready to be, independent of the mother and
Mm-hmm.
functioning outside. When this is started with drugs, the first will of the child. Now, for example, if you have to get out of bed every morning, and just
Yes.
keep it as simple as possible. If there was no something driving you to get up and
Yeah.
something, it's very hard to get out, right?
Correct.
You're taking away that first will from this human being
Uh-huh.
before they come into the world with interventions,
Yes.
right? And what are you doing when a mother is finding the process hard?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of encouraging her and
Mm-hmm.
telling her you can do it, it's one step at a time, and her preparing her mindset with support
Yes.
ahead of time. I
Yes.
can confidently tell you, for me, the birth process was simple as I just breathed the baby out without any injections, not even a single shot. When
Wow.
I had a dental process, it was more painful. Or when I stubbed my toe, it was more painful than the whole birth.
Yeah.
So, that is how I can confidently tell you that it's physiological for 95 to 98% of moms.
Beautiful.
Very few number need intervention.
Yeah. Because if you look at all this research and everything that we hear, right? Birthing pain is the ultimate that anybody can go through. But when you mention this, it's a complete new angle to look at it. So it's so beautiful thing. And also there is a lot of research that has happened in this field as you were mentioning. And being your colleague or uh, batchmate in the golden period education space, we did a lot of research about this. And we've seen that, as you mentioned, anything that happens in any human being's life stages, be it after birth till they pass on, everything goes back and connects to the prenatal stages. As a thing, World Health Organization is one who are supposed to talk about all of these things. But what we have seen is World Bank is speaking about this, and they're saying this is the time where you need to invest the highest amount of whatever attention that you can give. It's not just about nutrition in terms of food, but anything and everything that you need to do to a human being, do it in this time. This is the what we call the golden period of human beings, right? So that's how profound it is, because they said every dollar invested at this time becomes $13 by the time the user, I mean the person becomes
Goes
a
up.
contributor. So that's how significant this is. And to go back to the point that you mentioned about what happens in a child during the school, it's fascinating. This journey is amazing, and you are also a golden period educator, talking to a lot of parents about it.
Absolutely.
So was it also a journey that started for you, the process of becoming a golden period educator, talking to parents and all of that? That also was a part of your curious learning process, that you went from doula to hypnobirthing and childbirth education, and then added golden period education as another thing. Yeah.
Yes, for me, golden period education was like the missing piece in the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
we have different perspectives, but the depth at which Garbhopanishad and our scriptures and our rishis have, interpreted it and shared it in a simple way to understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything gives that perspective.
Right.
The depth to which this simple thing of what we are taking in is
Mm-hmm.
affecting not only this human being's lifetime on what they do for the rest of their life in terms of ROI, but for the next generations to come.
Yes, absolutely. I
There
mean,
is so much of an impact in such a small thing.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so tempting to talk more about it, but then wanted to focus more about how this can become a career of the present. Because I don't know, when you go back to the past, maybe our grandparents' time, right? There was no concept of these things as a external person coming and doing it. There was somebody in the family who knew it all was in some way or the other, and then it became completely missing. There was absence of these kind of things in some duration there, at least a few decades in the past, and then this has become a new emergence where people are getting to know more about it, taking the support, taking the service, and people are ready to offer the services. There are a lot of people coming in. So with this development that is happening and people becoming more and more aware of it, what do you think is the scope for this as a career for if anybody who's listening to it and they want to be in this field, they don't want to study medicine. They want to be here, they want to offer services, they want to deal with people, be there as uh, a mentor, support system or whatever, right? What do you think is the career here is, I mean, how does it look like in the future? From now to the next 10 years, what does it mean as a career?
So, as a career, I would say there is a lot of scope for many people to choose this space.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone is oriented towards facilitating change, helping people find their voice,
Mm-hmm.
literally stand up for themselves, and tune in to tune out whatever is not required.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Today, in today's day and age, it does not pay to be ignorant. Ignorance is no longer bliss. Knowledge
Right.
is
Yeah.
empowering us, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to be someone who is not only empowering yourself but also supporting others in a very crucial phase,
Mm-hmm.
the most important people in our history, we know of Swami Vivekananda. His mother is the one who had the vision of someone like him,
Yeah.
right? We know of Shivaji Maharaj. It's his
Yes.
mother who had someone the vision like him.
Yeah.
Even Prahlad, being born in Hiranyakashipu's house,
Yes.
comes with a background because of prenatal education, of
Absolutely.
what his mother was exposed to, Kayadu was exposed to during prenatal space, right? So if anyone is interested in having a great impact in
Mm-hmm.
offering empathetic space and service-oriented approach and empowering people with wisdom and knowledge, and this is a great opportunity
Mm-hmm.
without being in a medical space, because
Okay.
there you are expected to have certain different skills and invest a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, you're going back to what you said earlier, it used to be in the family,
Yeah.
right? There were joint families. You could call a neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, we don't have the connection with neighbors. In nuclear families, we don't have the connection with the extended families. Even if
Yeah.
we want, they are not in the same geography.
Yeah.
So, hence, this space is much more open for people who are interested in this line.
And if that is the case, what are the traits or the skills or technicalities that somebody needs to learn? What should be their path of learning? Like, for example, we have an academic structure for everything, right? If you want to be an engineer, this is the path that you take. If somebody has to take this as a career, what should be their path of learning? What should they start with? What should they learn? What should they get good at to do what you do?
First is listening to their own story,
Mm-hmm.
working with that,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you are in the presence of someone else, your story does not come in the way.
Wow.
Okay. So unless I can be there completely
Mm-hmm.
in the space, it's a very sacred space to be around when another woman is in labor.
Mm-hmm.
In their most intimate moment, they're inviting you. So if
Yes.
you have any fears of the process, if you have your own story,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not the right person to be there.
Okay. So you
So
don't carry your baggage with you.
package,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So, and what are the skills would be required if I have to learn some stuff? What are the things that I should learn? So, if I'm a teenager right now sitting and listening to it, And this is something that's a fascinating story. And this is touching life, right? I'm a part of a moment when a universe is being created. Each one of us, one human being that is born is a universe in a way. Right? You're a part of that. If somebody is inspired to be that, be a part of this whole creation process, what kind of skills do you think they should learn? Apart from use, as you said, being able to tune out, to tune in, leave your baggage out, what else would you think would be the most essential things that they should have as a toolkit?
Being open to learn continuously.
Okay.
Each family you support comes with a different story.
Mm-hmm.
They all come from different backgrounds. So
Yes.
being open and being a learner yourself,
Okay.
that's a very important skill to have.
Mm-hmm.
In all the almost a decade of me doing this job and being with so many families, at every birth I'm learning something different,
Mm-hmm.
because each one comes with their own unique situation. So if you have this one skill of being open and willing to learn at any time, you realize that this is such a vast field that
Right.
the more you keep on learning, you still feel like you've learned only a drop in the ocean.
Absolutely. It's human, right? It's so much
Yeah.
universal knowledge. And if you have to recollect one of the wow moments that you had in all of these journeys that you've had in all the families that you've worked with, if there is something that stands out for you, is there a moment that you would like to share, if that is okay?
Yeah, sure. And interestingly, that moment is not when I was there at the birth.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, In the school that my children study in, the teenagers were having, they just completed their biology block.
Uh-huh.
And the teacher had invited me to come and share about, the what they wanted to say, the whole big picture. So you've
Uh-huh.
completed biology and reproduction and all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to see, okay, how do you complete the cycle?
Mm-hmm.
Teenagers probably just had their menarche and just
Yeah.
entering a womanhood journey. So I took a session for them on
Mm-hmm.
this whole process of how the creative power, what's happening every month, and birthing and all of that. And at the end of it, I also took them to one of these spaces where I support women, and they met a mother who had just given birth a couple of hours before.
Okay.
So when she shared, they asked so many questions. Today's youngsters, they come with such open minds, willing to, learn and see different situations. At the end of the whole process, a 14-year-old girl was like, I am so proud to be born a girl in this lifetime.
Nice.
That was the most satisfying time for me,
Mm-hmm.
because what you become as a mother, even in a golden period educator we learn, is
Yes.
actually setting the story is happening in puberty.
Exactly. Yeah.
I actually saw that happen. And that was like, I wish when, I was a teenager, I had had someone like me share all of this thing.
Uh, That's exactly why we're doing this. We had so many things that we felt we missed during our crucial moments, right? If somebody had just told me about this, if somebody had spoken about this, if I had heard this word when I was there, I would have been doing something else. That's something that happens to each one of us, at least in our generation. But the whole idea, the objective of these talks are to have people like you come and share things that somebody hears, they get inspired, curiosity triggers, and take them to the path that they're supposed to be because they have decided what they want to be in their life before they have come to this planet. So, thanks a lot for sharing this amazing moment.
Thank you. One more thing I want to share with you, Balaji. Another fascinating thing which I find here is just the physical age.
Yeah,
Okay, we all originate from the egg.
correct.
Just physical age of this start of our physical body
Mm-hmm.
is all the eggs that a woman carries in her body are
Mm-hmm.
formed when she is a fetus in her mother's womb in the fourth month.
Yes.
Okay, so my grandmother has held a part of me in her body.
Yes.
And every child that I have ever carried in my womb, or
Yeah,
for any woman, the cells migrate between the mother and the baby.
correct.
So there is always some part of the child in you and some part of you in the child, no matter how old this person becomes.
Yes.
So, these things we never hear about.
Yeah,
Nobody talks about all of this. You limited to you don't know, and so many other things, but there is so much depth to all this.
absolutely. I mean, it's become just a biological thing and rather a medical thing these days, right? You're at a specific age, you physically you conceive, and it's childbirthing is done as a process, and That's it, over. And then you're on medication now, recovery. I don't know if you're still there. See your screen frozen. Okay. So it's become more of a medical thing, is what I was trying to say. People have started losing that essence of the bonding and the continuity that is there. So it's nice to bring these things back. And we in Bharata, this is something that was there for traditions. As you went back, as you were quoting Prahalada, right? It goes back to that. And even to a long time back, even Shiva Parvati, Kartikeya being born, the intention with which he was conceived made him what he was. The whole journey of everybody that we hear is all about it, right? So that is somewhere missing out. And I think all of these days, when we drive through the roads, we've seen so many IVF clinics that are happening. It's sprouting like mushrooms everywhere. Is that something that this field of where you are, childbirth educator or golden period educator, is that something that this career can influence, make things better, of getting people not depend so much of medicine to have this natural, beautiful thing of having a child? Why is it become so? And how can this career help in making things better there?
Definitely. So many simple changes in lifestyle, in nutrition, in the things we use around. You
Hmm.
can say that people are being paranoid about small, small things, but actually, small things have a big impact,
Yeah.
not only in our bodies, even in our ecosystems. So once people know and the shift has happened, I I take sessions for so many doctors nowadays. Many of my clients are doctors
Yeah.
themselves. And initially, when I started, I would be hesitant. Okay, I'm not a medical person. I'm not spent 9, 10 years in specializing in whatever field they have.
Hmm.
So, what is it that I'm bringing to share with them?
Yeah.
Then, when after I got, now that I've done so many doctor couples in all these years, I'm very, when I hear from them that the impact that what I know in my space is much specific and different from what they have learned. They
Yes.
never learn about the impact of nutrition on food,
Mm.
of food on their
Yeah.
bodies. They never learned that, gestational diabetes or something specific, which they're giving so many medications for, can be
Hmm.
shifted with simple changes in food.
Yeah.
These
So
things are never taught to them. So just simple things as exercises or removing the endocrine disruptors in their life, in the products they use, and all of that has such a big impact.
yeah, and also the way they start thinking and having a perspective about, okay, this is just beyond medicine and biology. There's a lot more to it. And biology is a lot already, but it's just beyond treating it like a medical stuff. And as you mentioned, if you have doctors by your side and if they can talk to patients and the parents to be in a different tone to make it a naturally beautiful, enjoyable process, I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing there. I mean, that at this point, I just wanted to also share one of the stories that I remember from the some of the doctors, OBGYNs, who are also golden period educators. There was a show, I think you also remember the story that Nishiji had shared, right? This was a point where there was a mother who was in a labor pain and the delivery was not happening, and they were thinking of having a cesarean, go for it. But then Nishiji spoke to the baby. She could connect to the baby and said, "Do it your way." And the next few minutes, the baby decided to come out, and it was a beautiful, natural delivery that happened. So if the doctors are aligned to this to understand, okay, there is something beyond what we see as what is written in the textbooks, that is a beautiful thing that you're changing each and every single life, because that doctor would be birthing how many children, I don't know, in their span of their career, right? And they will carry this, and their next generations will carry this, and this will bring back the whole. My neighbor could tell me about this. I didn't have to have a support from outside. Is what the change you're bringing. It's an amazing journey, and this is a beautiful career. One of the amazing things that we have spoken to so far. So yeah, at this point, I just see if anybody has any questions, anything to ask. And we also have Shwetaji with us, another golden thread educator, childbirth educator, in on the forum. But yeah, anyone, any questions? Okay, going on. Anything else you would like to add, Divaji? Anything that you would want children of this age right now, who are the generation next, who are going to be professionals? Anything that you would like to say from your side for them to know, keep in their hearts as they progress?
So, I would say just stand up for what you believe in,
Mm-hmm.
even if it is against the tide or against the norm that what everyone around you is
Mm-hmm.
vouching for or going by. That something that's calling out to you to, do or be is probably your truth.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that has a bigger impact.
Yeah.
So, like you were talking about doctors itself, most of them have been doing one particular practice of way for many years. And now, when mums come and stand up for themselves, and for example, we see in Belur Halipidu women squatting and giving birth.
Yes.
Today, when women ask doctors, I don't want to lie down to birth, I want to stand up for it.
Yeah.
Slowly, that change is coming. So,
Yes.
when
That
you
was
stand up for something, you might be the first person igniting that.
correct.
But what you're doing is setting the ball in motion for many more people to be impacted by this small change that you're bringing about.
Yes.
So whatever it is that resonates and connects, would
On the,
wholeheartedly.
how easy or hard for it for you to switch from your corporate profession to this? Was there any, like, usually this happens, right? If you decide to do something which is not what you're doing and what you're qualified to do, and then you say, okay, from tomorrow I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do something else. There is a bunch of people that come and keep telling you, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? How was it for you? Was it a smooth journey? You could just change, switch, convince people, convince yourself. How did that work?
You forget corporate people. My own family was like, what is this? Is this why you were working in such a big company, in such a big to, do this? In their opinion, this was not a very high profile
Uh,
job. If
okay.
you a doctor, you're still in one of something you look up to.
Mm-hmm.
But in this space, they felt that it was not like what they thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
But when they came, stayed with me, or when we met, or when I was with them, and they saw the kind of people I was talking with, the kind of today's I don't share too much on social media, but a lot of people have shared the impact that having this kind of support has made in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, of course, the money. It
Yes.
makes a lot of difference when they see that you're successful in what you do.
Yes.
I've supported families at different levels of society.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't only wealthy people or only people who are, just starting out. No, throughout the spectrum, I have had people have supported
Mm-hmm.
about different professions, whether they are on their own or business or corporates or whatever. So at all levels, they have seen the impact.
Mm-hmm.
And today, the people who I worked with, who thought that I was making a very bad choice by leaving that corporate career and doing something on my own, through word of mouth, many of them come back to me when they are in the process of them having babies or their children are undergoing the
Right.
situation. And like, we trust you because we know you from then.
Yeah.
We know that you will not do something that will be harmful for others. But at the same time, we know we have insurance, so we go to the hospital, we'll get conned. So we want to prepare ourselves beforehand. So it's like come a full circle from there.
Absolutely. So that is something that happens, right? So a lot of people, they think, if I am qualified to do this and I have landed a job, I've done it for a decade, that's my future. That's where I need to be. But another thing that people should also understand and be okay with is that I have done this, I've succeeded, I've done good, I've reached a position. It is still okay for me to switch my profiles, do something that my heart calls out for. And that is something that I could pursue as a career as well. Is something that people should be okay with. It's not just about you making a decision, but people around you to support it. And if they don't support you, stand your feet saying, I know what I'm doing. So that courage should be there to switch. And it's not something that people have to shy away from, and that they should be okay to do it. I see there's a question on the chat. I had one question. Could you share one thing you learned about human life after being a doula? Beautiful question. I'll leave that to you.
It's a very deep question, Rishit. After being a doula, I really realized that life is a breath and a heartbeat. We don't know how long we have this beautiful honor and privilege and blessing and gift with us. So every day that I'm alive and awake is because I have something to contribute in my life and in impact in the lives around me. So, when you sincerely turn up for yourself and for others around you, it has a great impact.
Mm-hmm.
And especially at the moment of birth, the highest love hormone, oxytocin, the highest dose is present at that time. So it creates a lifelong impression in the child's mind on, what is their pattern for the rest of their life, on whether they are seeing separation there, or they're seeing chaos there, or seeing fear there, or they welcome with a lot of love and, presence. I would say presence. As a doula, something I have learned is to, I don't need to say a lot of things, do a lot of things to make an impact. Just being present, the quality of presence makes a big difference. That
Good.
has been my learning.
A breath and a heartbeat. It's amazing. So yeah, going back to this, right? And when you mentioned this, you were working with a lot of families, and you also mentioned it's very close, very intimate, very personal to every person there. And considering this childbirth being something that it's basically around a feminine, right? It's about a mother. Do you think this is a profession that even men can get into? Not just as a doula, but birthing educator, golden period educator. Do you think men should also get into it?
Yes, very much. In fact, there are many men who have done real impactful work in this space
Mm-hmm.
when they have seen the difference that this kind of support makes in families.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, the OBGYN field was actually dominated only by men,
Mm-hmm.
and they were close to things like this. But
Yeah.
gradually, when they saw the impact that it made, there are many doctors who are actually calling out today that
Mm-hmm.
some of the practices which are doing are actually causing harm than benefit. And
Mm-hmm.
when they speak up, it has a bigger impact, it reaches more people, and it's more widely accepted.
Okay.
So that's the impact I've seen what men can create even in this space
Yes.
at a
Okay.
larger picture. And
Mhm.
at a smaller picture, each man is contributing half the DNA to their child. The
Absolutely.
quality of the physical body, the placenta, the number of miscarriages, a lot of it is related to the father's contribution as well.
True.
Something even everyone knows, even the gender of the baby is determined by the father.
Yes. Yeah. So many things. Yeah. It's that the woman is giving the support system, but the man, the father, is equally involved, if not less or more. So I mean, that's the beauty of our. I know we are digressing a little, but that is, I think, the beauty also of our scriptures that has a term for a pregnant father, Garbhavati as a lady and Garbhavan as a father. That's where it goes back, and I don't think anybody else. It's like you don't have the terminology, and we've also seen there are some experiments that are done, and there are proof that during the childbirth, the amount of oxytocin that is produced in the mother, it also gets produced in the father at the same time in equal or almost equal amounts. So that's the beauty of it, because even a father is emotionally going through a labor pain and delivering a spiritual baby into the world. uh, Rightly so. If there are people who are in this process and who can stay with the fathers, because usually we are ignored even as growing boys, we are not taught these sensitivities, right? So we don't understand that. But if there is a person who can talk and keep the fathers also involved as a co-contributor to the whole process, I think it would make a lot of difference in the world, because it's not just a woman supporting a woman, but it's a person supporting the family.
It's a full cycle. One of my teachers says the father has given the seed, and the mother is giving the gift of that seed back to the father at the birth. So it's a
Yes.
full cycle. Nobody is as invested in this child and this mother as much as the father is. So the father is playing the key role of holding that space. So
Yes.
there's someone who's enabling him to do that better. That is what I do. I don't replace that support. I
Absolutely. Yeah.
just help them to be
Yes.
more in tune with each other in this whole process.
Yeah. What you're doing is that they are people who don't know that it could be done better. You're actually bringing that factor into them. So, hey, this could be done better. So, thanks a lot for doing that. Thanks a lot for touching so many lives and people. And yeah, if there are any other questions, this is a topic that is really, we can't discuss it as a career. It's a beautiful service that you're doing, which is what everything that it touches upon, right? So we cannot talk about it as a career like we discussed about the other profiles that we spoke about. It's very spiritual, very emotional, and too much of a connection with the heart and the people or humanity as it is. So yeah, unless if anybody else has any specific question about this. Or Divya, if you have anything else to add or discuss.
I would encourage youngsters to look at this as a career as well. When one of my teachers said if a doula was a drug, it would be illegal not to have one. That is the impact that having this person who is there with you physically makes. It reduces interventions, it brings about so much of a better experience for the parents and the family
Yeah,
at all layers. So, you can do something else, but also do this if it calls out to you and you feel that you're willing to be an empathetic person for someone and hold that space without bringing your story in the middle.
yeah,
So it's not that you need to do only this if it's something that you feel will not give you the whole returns or whatever you're looking at.
yeah,
This could be one of the things that you do as well.
absolutely. And also that brings makes me think, as we are studying stuff in a school setup, right, or education, we are just focusing on the biology part of it again, in the cells,
Yes,
the whole the sex education that happens, right? It's all about the body and how this things goes. I think it should be made compulsory for people to learn all of these things also academically, because I mean, if you don't go into the depth, at least make them aware of this whole thing. When you are getting educated, while you are learning, while you're growing, make them aware of what happens just beyond the body, just beyond the physicality of it. I think that is where people start getting the appreciation of it, and they don't take these things lightly. Even if they don't take it up as a profession, at least they will have the sensitivity towards the topic, right? When you are seeing your mother, your children, your sister, your own wife, you'll at least be able to connect as a man, but you as a woman also will be able to appreciate it better than what you are already doing. So you don't see it just as a pain of labor, but the beauty of and the joy of birthing. So that will be a beautiful thing that I think it should become a part of a mainstream education.
definitely. We all have a divine feminine and a divine masculine aspect in us.
Yeah.
So, right from whether it is in childhood, in schools, or in corporates, when we
Mhm.
acknowledge both the parts of us and work in harmony, that is when the impact that we can create is much more than denying one part of it. Even women today don't want to honor their own divine feminine.
Yes.
It has become a whole thing of how can we bounce back as quickly as possible,
Right.
all of that. So when we understand the impact that it has, then it makes it more valuable to invest our time and energies in it. Hence more people should come to know about all this and explore it further.
Absolutely. I think it could be a, I don't know how it will be taken if I say this. The whole concept of equality is actually making women feel lesser than what they are, right? Trying to fit them and make them equal to men, in a way, projecting it to look like they're being promoted to what they are. In a way, actually, you're actually putting them down and you're bringing them down to saying, this is what you should be, because people see this is what it is, but they're much more than that already. There's already an inequality where women are far superior than the male. But anyways, it's a sensitive topic to discuss, but good to know. So Rishit is having another question about this career of doulas, right? Have doulas been in India before, or is it a new or comparatively new concept?
Doulas have always been there in all societies. It was not a paid career field as it is today. That is the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, it was intrinsic in the fabric of the community. You always had a neighbor who was good at birthing. So when the mother is in labor, I mean, I've read it in Sudha Murthy's book. She talks about her grandmother being a mother of 1,000 children. So whenever there was somebody in labor in her village, her grandmother would be called to support that mother.
Right.
So, this was always an intrinsic part of every community
Mm-hmm.
in whichever space they're in. Uh, it's relatively new that it has become a medicalized model where you're moving away from home and the fear has set in so much.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks a lot for sharing a lot about this. It was fascinating to discuss this area, right? And this is a topic which is very close to my heart as well. And I could go on talking about it, and sharing stories and hearing stories. It's a beautiful journey, but I think each and every human being should know about what birthing means. And if you can do a bit in this area as an individual, as a member of the family, or as a profession who can help, it's a beautiful field to be. It's so satisfying. So at that note, I would like to see if there's no other questions, or maybe if you don't have anything else to ask anybody else, we could hand it back to you, Divyaji, for you to conclude with your parting notes, if you want to say something.
One last thought I'd like to leave everyone is birth is not only the process of the child coming out. Every month in a woman's body, there is a birth, there's a rebirth, and there is an end. The dissolution of the creative power in the form of the egg every month is what makes us in tune with nature and the cyclical beings. When we honor that nature, which is in the feminine, the cycles around us, whether it is with the way that we are treating our mother earth or the rivers or everything else will come into balance. So whoever women are in your life, earlier the world used to work around, it was not a Sunday holiday.
Yeah.
The holidays were when the women are in their cycle and everyone else would pitch in, and that was how the society functioned. It was not based on a random day of the week or on a random calendar. The panchang, the cycles of the moon, cycles of our bodies, the cycles of our oceans, the cycles of our mind are very, very intrinsically connected. So just coming in, connecting with our own selves and people around us in our own families can be a great start to begin this whole cycle of transformation. The person I was last month is very different from the person I am this month
Oh,
because of this transformation going. So birth, rebirth, death, the cycle. When
yes.
we honor this cycle, we honor everything around us and in us. That's all I'm telling you.
Amazing. That's a perfect note that I think leaves us all at a place where you can enjoy this relationship after it's all done, right? So beautifully concluded, Divya. Thanks a lot for that. And yeah, so thanks for everyone. Thanks to everyone for being here. Divya, thanks a lot for taking your time on a Sunday evening and sharing this beautiful journey with us. So yeah, see you all in the next session soon. Thanks a lot, everyone. Good night. Shivam.
Good night.